Okay. Welcome to our meeting for May 26, 2021. I'd like to call this meeting to order at this time. On behalf of the board, I'd like to acknowledge the land we are meeting on today is the traditional territory of many First Nations, including the Chippewas of Georgina Island and the Mississaugas of the Credit. These lands are now home to many diverse Indigenous peoples. We also acknowledge that York Region falls under Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit and the Williams Treaty with several Mississauga and Chippewa First Nations. I'd like to ask if anybody has any declarations of interest on our agenda today. I have one. It's under item 8.1, and it is regarding the Cedar Center. I sit on the board of directors, so I will be declaring at that point. We'll move along to confirmation of the public minutes of April the 14th. Any questions, comments? I have a mover and a seconder, please. Jennifer and Walter, all those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Item number 4 is presentations. We have none at this time. Number 5 is deputations, none at this time. We'll move to communications, and that's 6.1 to 6.4. First one is 6.1. Chief, do you have comments or Mafalda regarding this item?
Yeah, just a quick comment, Chair. We will be complying and participating in providing feedback to the ministry as we normally do. And General Counsel Jason Fraser is on with us here today and works with his counterparts as we move to provide feedback to assist the Solicitor General and to in relation to Community Safety and Policing Act as it unfolds over the next short period of time and into next year.
Thank you. Mafalda, did you have any comments as well?
I don't have anything to add. I think the board has participated over the years in their submissions for these various areas, particularly the suspension without pay. I think we're satisfied as to where this is going, unless we want to take it further. But at this time, I think they're just looking for a definition of serious offense, and I think we'll leave it with the chief and YRP to move on with this, unless our board has anything else it wants to add at this time.
Thank you. Anything from board members? Seeing none? Oh, sorry, Jennifer, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Virginia. I just have a clarification question, please. On the first item, the oath and affirmations, is there what's the change, or this is the same historically?
Jason, you able to help out on this as to where the province is going here?
The oaths,
yeah.
The oaths and affirmations, they've remained relatively unchanged. I mean, there are some additions in terms of the affirmation with respect to Aboriginal and treaty rights. So certainly the oaths and affirmations have been modernized and are more reflective than the ones that we currently have, which have been around for decades. But otherwise, that's the main change.
Okay, great. Yeah, that confirms my intuition. I feel like the change is probably which recognize and affirms Aboriginal and treaty rights of Indigenous peoples. And I understand the context, but I'm just wondering from government perspective, if we need to single out a particular community, I understand the context. However, there are also other communities that have similar experience or needs or anything. So I feel like police services, we serve all people, all Canadian in our community, regardless of the races and background. So if this is the case, we want to add this, perhaps we should also add an all people, all Canadian, something, rather than singling out one particular community.
I would suggest it's a recognition not just of a community, but of our obligations to treaty obligations that span a few generations now, and the nation to nation obligations that we have with the Indigenous peoples of this land.
Yeah, I am okay to leave it there, and I just feel then we uphold the Constitution of Canada, recognize and affirms these rights. Then we also recognize and affirm the rights of all Canadians.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? We have a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Item 6.2 is correspondence from the constituency office. Any questions, comments on that? Seeing none, could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Chair Emerson, thank you. And Mr. Purchell, thank you. All those in favor? And that's carried. Item 6.3, correspondence from Dana Gerard. I believe this is just to receive. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Chair Emerson. Mayor Bevilacqua, thank you. All those in favor? And that's carried. 6.4, correspondence from Laura Marabella from Finance. Any questions or comments on that? Chair Emerson, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, everyone. This is reality coming. Council will be deliberating the budget, as you know, in the fall. So council is looking for everyone to take a reduction if they go to a zero-based budget. Some municipalities went zero-based in 2021 this year, and I'm sure they'll be probably going to 2021, 2022 to be going to zero. So just so you, just you're aware, we need to start I need to send a message to you that we need to find some cost savings going forward. So, but I know you'll deliberate that going forward. I know Jeff will be on top of that. So I just assume, I thought I'd better say something, but Madam Chair, I'll move to receipt of the letter. But it is reality because of what COVID has done and the cost going forward. And I see members, municipalities are asking for a zero, and we'll see how far that goes. The chair of finance and admin at the region is Mayor Bevilacqua, and he will be dealing with this in the next couple of weeks regarding a report going to council on the direction from council.
Well,
okay,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? I have a mover. Do I have a seconder? Mayor Bevilacqua, thank you. All those in favor? And that's carried.
Right.
We are.
Mayor Haxton, maybe everybody should realize they need to mute their microphone when they're not speaking.
No, I
So-
didn't see that.
Thank you.
Jason may want to mute his microphone. Good.
I believe he has now. Thank you. We're at items at 7, reports of the chief. And the first one is 7.1, financial reporting. Chief, go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair Haxton. Through you, it's the unaudited financial report for the year end of 2020. As you can see in the report, there are highlights in the report about the fact that the board has been was 86.3% spent, and YRP was 101.2% spent at the conclusion of the year. For any further comments related to the report, I can turn it over to the Assistant Manager of Financial Services, standing in for Mr. Channel, Sunita Aries, with us today. So Sunita, if there's any further comment or any questions from the board.
you have any other comments, Sunita, before I ask if there are any questions?
I'll do you, Madam Chair. I'll wait for the questions if that's okay.
Thank you. Questions? Go ahead, Ms. Fang.
Thank you, Virginia. Good morning, Sunita. I just have a couple clarification questions. I noticed the 2020 salary overspend, and I understand perhaps mostly is the reflection of the collective bargaining agreement. But I thought the first year was budgeted in already, but we still show on the salary itself 3% over. So I'm wondering if you can shed some light on that, please.
Through you, Madam Chair. So that's a great question. For salaries, we had two issues in 2020. One was the overtime due to the large investigative projects that we had going on throughout the year. So about 665,000 of that is due to overtime. We also had a lot of pressure in 2020 due to a large number of members that were on WSIB. Our treatment for WSIB members is we keep them in complement, but at the 6-point mark, we do backfill them so to avoid a direct labor shortage. And the number of members on WSIB has grown since 2016 due to the presumptive legislation. So we had that pressure in 2020, and we've corrected that in the 2021 budget cycle.
Thank you. On the WSIB, can I just clarify the trend in 2020? Is it a continuous trend from 2016, or it's a little bit unusually high because of pandemic and everything around that?
It has increased steadily since 2016, but largely due to the presumptive legislation. I'm not sure if there's a COVID impact to WSIB leaves.
Okay, thank you. And then my other question is around the capital budget spending. I noticed the disaster recovery plan is characterized as capital budget. Normally it's a plan, it's like a business plan. So this must be something else, not exactly as the name projects.
So the disaster recovery plan is capitalized because the amount, it meets the CLIP level of over $100,000, but it's also a combination of equipment, hardware equipment, infrastructure equipment, and software to create a disaster recovery site that is, I think their guidelines are 40 kilometers away from the home units. So it's a combination of hardware and software that makes up that amount.
Okay, so it's more the disaster recovery site. That's capital spending. And then the number one district, is this project expected to be behind timeline? Because it's since 2017 and it's like 5 years and we are now 3.5 years, we only 25% into the spending.
So through you, Madam Chair, this year in 2021 is when the majority of the construction expenses will hit our books. So we didn't see a lot in 2020. We did have minor delays due to COVID with starting the project, but now we're on track. Construction should be completed prior to the end of the year this year.
Okay, and last question on this one is the vehicle replacement.
Yes.
This one is over budget by now, even before the end of completion. And I remember during the collective bargaining, we tried to reduce the business vehicle, like we allow personal vehicle to be used. So that's an effort to try to reduce this business vehicle, but we are still over budget here. Any reason, please?
So the benefit for the vehicles will be seen in 2021, but in 2020, we did have a large vehicle purchase that was unbudgeted. And that's what's driving the overage for the capital purchase in 2020.
Why did we have unbudgeted vehicle purchase in 2020?
Through you, Madam Chair, if I can defer that to Deputy De Silva for assistance.
Yeah, that vehicle purchase was for an armored vehicle that was presented to the board and it was authorized. So I hope that answers your question.
Oh, it's a one single arm vehicle.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Are there any other questions at this time? Seeing none, could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Mayor Bevilacqua. Ms. McCullough? All those in favor? And that's carried. Item 7.2. Interim financing report. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you. This is our quarterly unaudited interim financial report for the first 3 months of 2021. As you can see in the summary, the board and both the board and YRP are trending in the right direction. We're a quarter, 25, almost 25% spent, and the board's 19.4%. And so we are trending in the right direction. Any specific questions related to this report, once again, I can have the Assistant Manager, Sunita Airy, answer those questions.
Thank you. Any questions regarding this report? Ms. Fang, go ahead, please.
Thank you. I think here I just need some help to understand the capital budget reporting, because we have the benefit of looking at the annual 2020 and the first quarter 2021 this time. I understand most of these capital budget projects are multi-year projects. So I think from year over year or a year and quarter over quarter, it should be a continuous carry forward. But I noticed some discrepancy or changes between year end 2020 and first quarter 2021. So I thought I would take this opportunity to gain understanding of our capital budget tracking and reporting, please. So if I pick an example, now I have to try to compare screens. For example, at the end of 2020, there's the air operation project, but into Q1 2021, that project kind of got split into two, helicopter and then air operation. Can Sunita please explain the reason of that?
Well, through you, Madam Chair, thank you for your question. The helicopter replacement has been identified as a separate capital project because we did have to gain capital spend authority for that so we can initiate the purchasing process this year. So we have split that out, and that is a 2022 item independently at the 6.25 million that you see, second line on the schedule. And then the air operations, the $100,000 that you see as a separate line item is for any repairs that are required on the current Air 2. So we've split them out just to make it easier for OICs to manage their budget and also for the capital spend authority requirement.
Yeah, so just so to clarify, at the end of 2020, the air operation project total budget amount just over 10 million, capital authority. And now we split into two, helicopter 6 million, air operation 100,000. So do you suggest we achieve savings of over 3 million here?
The 2021 number that you're seeing also included the second, the fixed wing project, which is now, that was a 2021 purchase. It doesn't carry forward. So now helicopter replacement is its own standalone project. We don't carry that amount forward because that's completed.
So how do I reconcile the 10 million for air operation that's supposed to start in 2020 and finish in 2022, and now this one disappears into 100,000.
So the way that we budgeted for it, we bundled both aircrafts together. But we're reporting them separately. We budgeted them under the same project, but because fixed wing is now completed, we've taken that off and to recognize Air 2 replacement as a separate independent project.
So
It's not to lose transparency, which is they're two separate aircrafts that we budgeted under the same project code, but because one is completed, it's now taken off the report. We're no longer reporting it.
Madam Chair, can I just ask that we refrain from, if we're going to talk about air operations, there are some items we're discussing here in a public forum that are confidential, and perhaps Ms. Fang's direct questions, detail by detail in this line. Maybe we could take it offline, or at least in the conversation, speak about just air operations.
yeah, I don't mind, Jim, but I just try to understand how the budget for a project is evolving. I think it's natural, it's evolving, especially if it's achieving savings. That's kudos to the team. But it's just, so far, I don't get a clear picture of how this evolved. Happy to discuss offline. And then there are a lot of several other items, say the vehicle replacement, just in 3 months, in a quarter, the project changed, the budget number changed. So I like to understand, like, what is the process as we manage this capital project, quarter over quarter? We just change the number, change the budget,
So the number
the
that
starting date. Like, if
might
you
I
compare these two, the first quarter and 2020, I highlighted about 10 items that look different.
Ms. Fang, might I suggest that the detail that you're looking for perhaps is better found on a one-to-one meeting? And if you can set one up, I think that would be better. It seems to me that there are a variety of issues that you have questions about. And I'm not sure when we have a board meeting, if everybody has all their details quickly at hand that you're asking about. Is there an opportunity that you might be able to set up a meeting with staff and have your answers found at that point?
Yes, I'm okay to discuss this offline, but I think I would like to hear from our finance team the general process of managing capital budget and the budget changes, please. Just nothing specific. Talk about high level processes, please.
So through you, Madam Chair, some of the projects that you mentioned, for example, vehicles and IT, those are annual projects. So we only include for the purpose of board reporting, the annual budget for that current year. They're not carry forward projects. The only projects that are multi-year projects would be the ones where the amount would carry forward from prior year. So we do differentiate between annual projects and projects with capital spend authority that are multiple years. But I'm more than happy to go through the report with you, Ms. Fang, offline after the meeting.
Thank you, but I want to point out that all these are multi-year projects that they did not finish at 2020. Otherwise, they would not be carried into the Q1 2021. So that's exactly why my question, it's not clear.
So perhaps you can get that information offline then. If you can set, I'm sure that staff will make themselves available to you for as long as you need to get this information.
So Sunita, should I expect you send me an email to book a time, please?
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you.
Through you, Madam Chair, I can, and through Member Fang, I can definitely facilitate that. So Ms. Fang, if you don't want to send me an email, I will more than gladly facilitate that meeting between yourself, finance, and myself.
Thank you, Paulo.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions on items 7.2? Not seeing any. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Mayor Bevilacqua and Mr. Purchell, all those in favor, and that's carried. Item 7.3, go ahead, please.
Yes, through you, Madam Chair. This report relates to forfeited offense-related property, proceeds of crime, civil remedies. And as you can see, high level in the board, in the report, we seized up to, well, it was $1,088,795. And of that money essentially moves through the seized property management directorate and is dispersed accordingly. We access those funds on a regular basis by way of grant funding. And as you can see, between April 1st, 2020 and March 31st, 2021, we received approximately $300,000 through the proceeds of crime grant for 3 initiatives. Some is equipment, 100,000 for equipment, and the other 200,000 is related to 2 projects that are still ongoing. Project Uriel for human trafficking and infantry to support our frontline members who are combating gun and gang violence in the region. So if there's any specific questions about this, either myself, Brian, or Sunita, Deputy Bigra, or Sunita Ari can answer.
Thank you. Questions? Ms. Fang, go ahead.
Thank you, Virginia. Just a clarification question, please. I thought our team have seized much bigger properties and cash amount as on those projects as compared to what is reported here. Can you, Jim, please shed some light on some of those numbers that are commented in the media, or even we heard in internal discussion, but not included as in this report, please?
I think what you're referring to, we're going to speak about later, and it is not included in this report. Brian, any comments on that? Any further comments?
Sure. Thank you, Chief, through you, Madam Chair. Just to clarify, Ms. Fang, throughout each and every year, and as a result of a number of ongoing investigations, the police arrest, charge people, and seize monies and properties. That property and or money is managed by the Seized Property Management Directorate. And it's not until the cases go through the courts and the cases are finished and the monies and or property are forfeited back to Seized Property Management for the monies to be dispersed. So year over year, so specifically this year, you will see the number that the chief quoted, just over $1 million, that was forfeited. That money is the forfeited amount that may have been from cases 2, 3, 5 years prior to.
Great, thank you for that clarification.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions on this item? Seeing none, could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Ms. McCullough? Chair Emerson, all those in favor? And that's carried. 7.4, Purchasing Bylaw Quarterly Report.
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you. This is a report you see quite regularly at the board. This report relates to 4 requests for tenders related to vehicles and some internet service and batteries. Subject to any questions, the funds were budgeted for through the 2021 budget process and are available for these purchases.
Thank you. Questions? Mayor Bevilacqua, go ahead, please.
I was just going to move that, Madam Chair.
I think we have a question, so I'll take that move in a moment. Ms. Fang?
Yeah, just a quick question to understand the process of bidding. Do we set a minimum number of bids and do not set maximum number? Is that part of our process? Or we have a tiered, depending on the amount, above certain level, we require a minimum number of bids, certain minimum. Just want to understand the process, please. Because I noticed the larger amount have 4 bids, which is good, but the smaller amount have 13 bids.
Paula or Sunita, did you want to comment on this one?
Through you, Madam Chair, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Sunita, I don't believe we have a minimum or maximum in relation to RFTs. It is dependent on who actually bids.
That's the answer. Okay. Ms. Fang, that's the answer, that it appears that there are no maximums or minimums.
Yeah, good, thank you. I think no maximum is reasonable, but no minimum is probably an area we should look into offline. Thank you.
Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Ms. Fang, will you move that? And Mayor Bevilacqua. Thank you. All those in favor? And that's carried. 7.5, secondary activities.
Yes, through you, Madam Chair. Thank you. As is normally required, we report regularly to the board on members who are engaged in secondary activities over and above their day-to-day duties with York Regional Police. And from 2020 to 2021, we had 11 new members come forward requesting secondary activities and 2 members who resigned from previous activities. This process comes before me on a regular basis through members through our executive service branch who vet these requests, and our risk management do some due diligence on these requests. I sign off and our members carry on secondary activities. So not a large increase from last year to this year, but a slight increase, still the same. So that is the report, subject to any questions.
Thank you very much. Questions? Ms. Fang, go ahead, please.
Thank you. One quick question. Am I correct to assume all of these members who carry out secondary activities are not senior officers of the services?
Well, I can't comment specifically, but I don't have the list in front of me, but rarely have I ever seen a senior officer request secondary activities. For the most part, since I've been doing this, I haven't signed off on one. The majority of these are at our civilian sworn ranks at not at the senior officer level for the majority of them.
Okay, great. Yeah, that would be my understanding. I think going forward, if we could have a footnote saying if there's any senior officer that's separate report that, please. Personally, I still think sales activities, it's so easy they cause conflict of interest, because conflict of interest is defined as perceived, not as actual. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Chair Emerson, go ahead, please.
Madam Chair, I'll move receipt of it, but to single out the senior officers have every right to do what they want on their time. I'm not sure why we have to single them out. And the other thing is, I think if they want to make some extra money doing something else, by grass cutting to trimming trees or doing anything like that at all, I think it's a good thing to keep active. I'm sorry, I can't agree with Ms. Fang saying that we have to be cautious of this. I think it's good that they come to the chief and the chief says, yeah, you can go drive a car and shuffle cars around, do that in your off time, because it only helps everybody. So I'm not supportive of what Ms. Fang's asking. I'll just motion to receive the report, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
I just think we need to be mindful. I'm not saying yes or no, but from analysis statistics perspective, it's good to have the granularity. So we know, and among all the activities, of course, volunteer, residential services, yes, these are good, but these, I assume they are paid services. So sales definitely is in a gray area. I don't want to encourage our senior officers to do sales outside of their job. It's just perceived conflict of interest.
Ms. Avellino.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to add, and Jason can correct me if I'm wrong on this, I think it's left up to the officers to determine if there's a conflict and to report it to the chief, and then the chief determines whether that is a conflict. But under the legislation, it has to come back to the board. Like what Chairman Evertson was saying, if they're doing sort of side jobs, they don't have to report on all those things because, you know, it's not a perceived conflict necessarily. So I'm not sure, but I think it's left up to the officer, Jason.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair, under the Police Services Act, a member is only required to report their secondary activity to the chief if they believe there may be a conflict of interest. We have prepared a fairly robust procedure that outlines various areas where we either, in certain circumstances, give the green light, or in other circumstances, we will say you have to report to the board because it may be a conflict depending on the circumstances. But the one thing that we cannot do is we cannot require our members to report all of their secondary activities. That was tried by the Toronto Police Service a number of years ago, and it was judicially challenged and found that that exceeded what we're allowed to do under the Police Services Act.
Thank you. Appreciate that very much. I have a mover. Do I have a seconder? Mr. Purchell, thank you. All those in favor? And that's carried. We are at item number 8 on our agenda, and this are items for consideration report of the Executive Director. Ms. Avellino, go ahead, please.
Madam
Thank you,
Chair, I
Madam
think you
Chair.
declared a conflict on this one, so maybe you
Yes,
want Mayor
I'll turn,
Babalaka.
oh, yes, I had a note here. Well, can I turn the chair over to you? Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Madam Chair. Thanks, Mr. Chair. Go ahead.
And thank you, and through you, Vice Chair Bevilacqua. This first report is a request for, I believe it's $6,500 to the Cedar Center. As you know, they're one of our partners, and we have made donations in the past. And this year, they're asking for a little bit more. I think given like other organizations are all in the same boat, and that they've, you know, had some challenges. So they are requesting a little bit more money, and they lay out the program toward which it's going. Leave it with you.
Mr. Chair, I'll move the recommendation, but we have to be cautious because everyone in less than 2020 did not have functions for their programs that they want. So we have to be cautious because this money will run out very quickly if we continue to double the funding that they're asking for. So be cautious on how much or what you agree to, Mafalda, telling them that they going forward, but just it will run out very quickly because we're only into May, and there's a lot of programs that are not going to be running this year again, and they're going to be asking for more funding. And that works out to be about $160 per person for the 40 members that they're going to help with. And it's not a lot of members are helping, but I do believe in the program, but I just be cautious. Thanks. But I'll move it, Mayor Babalacqua.
Moved by Chair Emerson. I think Ms. Fang, you have a question?
Yeah, I just have one quick question, please. Mafalda, in your conversation with this organization, do you know if they have applied for federal government support for not-for-profit organizations?
I don't know, Ms. Fang. I don't know the answer to that question. I can certainly find out, but I don't know at this time.
That's okay. I think moving forward, if there are similar requests, I agree with Wayne's comment. Perhaps the first channel we should ask if they have considered the federal government support for not-for-profit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And on this note, though, I do think, and I agree with Chairman Emerson, that we have to be careful. But, you know, let's also remember that this fund plays a very important role in our community, and that people are in need and they're doing exceptional work. So perhaps, Mr. Chair, what we ought to do is maybe raise a little bit more money for the York Region Police so that they can be even more active within the community. I think this is, as you probably know, something that I truly believe in, that we have an important role to help organizations. Ms. Fang.
I agree, sir. I agree, but the issue is, Ms. Fang, I got to say, every organization that I know of apply to all levels of government
Mhm.
for funding. They will do their utmost if there's any funding, because they go to the MPs and MPPs, they come to the region and they go locally to the local municipality. So these people are very good at doing their job because they want funding to help their residents. So I don't believe you need to ask. They automatically, if there's any funding, but very rarely there's funding from the provincial and federal government. Thank you, sir. I'll move the recommendation.
You did? And do I have a
Okay.
seconder, right? I had a seconder? Do I have a
Yes,
seconder? Okay.
Ms. McCullough?
Walter, Virgil, good, perfect. All those in favor? Against, motion carries. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. We have one more item here, 8.2, eradicating racism and strengthening public trust and confidence in a policing board recommendation. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So at the September, the board recalls at the September meeting of last year, the board received oral and written submissions from Black community representatives to address concerns regarding policing and anti-Black racism. In total, there were 51 recommendations to the board, and the board committed to taking the next steps in addressing them. At the board's direction, the chief provided responses to most of the recommendations at the April meeting last month. This particular report outlines the strategy, the proposed strategy to address the 8 recommendations that are specific to the board, and they're attached to this report. And I'm proposing that the board establish a committee that is representative to review and advise the board on an action plan for implementation with the view to bring back a report in the fall. And that report should guide and advise the board on the implementation of these 8 recommendations. Subject to board approval of this strategy at this time, I will recommend as well that the board appoint 2 members of our board to that committee as proposed in the strategy. Take any questions.
Thank you very much. Questions of Ms. Avellino? Ms. Fang, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Virginia. Thank you, Mafada. I just have one quick comment, but relating to item number 2 and number 4. Maybe just language tweaking that I said the board condemns any form of racism. However, the current focus will be on anti-Black. Something like that, because I don't want to be perceived we are only focusing on anti-Black, anti-Indigenous. We are actually zero tolerance on any forms. And then similarly, then number 4, in training, I think is the anti-racism training in general, like any form of racism.
Okay, thank you for that.
Any other questions? I might suggest that I know people want to have a look at their calendars and understand, Ms. Avellino, the commitment that they're going to make. So perhaps they could be in touch with you following the meeting to show their interest in this particular area of a committee. Comfortable with that, their board? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Mayor Bevilacqua, Ms. McCullough, all those in favor, and that's carried. That is all that we have under items for consideration. Item 9, unfinished business. Do we have any at this time?
Madam Chair, if through you, I just wanted to correct Mrs. Fang asked a question in relation to an RFT and the minimum. I stand corrected. The minimum number is 2 or more. So Ms. Fang, I just wanted to correct my statement originally.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paolo.
You're welcome.
Not seeing unfinished business. Do we have any other business at this time? I think we might have one.
We have one important one.
10.1.
Madam Chair, if I may, so today is a very important day for this board, a day that we recognize an exceptional leader who has been really stellar in her performance. It's the chair's action last board meeting. And Virginia, if I may, has served on this board for the last 9 years and the last 4 years as its chair. And her presence and leadership on the board will be certainly missed. Regional Council appointed Mayor Axon to the Police Services Board in February 2012. Her impact on the police oversight, governance, and community safety in the region will, of course, leave a long-lasting impact. As chair, Mayor Axon has overseen substantial changes to the York Region's police services, including the construction of several police facilities to meet the growing population and safety demands of the citizens, including the new facility, marine facility in Georgina, and the police training facility in East Willenbury. She has also been part of the approval processes for business plans and police budgets. During her tenure, Chair Axon supported the approval of some of the best training equipment and technology in the country to ensure the safety and security of the citizens of this region and the safety of the officers, including the establishment of the Real-Time Operations Center. Chair Axon was on the selection committees which recruited its current chief, Jim McSween, and six deputy chiefs. As a member of the board, Virginia participated in numerous York Regional police events, including the new recruit graduations, auxiliary graduations, exemplary services awards, and events that supported the longstanding and strong relationships we have with many communities in our region. Virginia has been recognized for her significant contributions to the community, including being proud recipient of the Queen's Golden Jubilee Medal and the Diamond Jubilee Medal for her contribution to community service. Her support as chair has been monumental in advocating the board's decision that have been imperative to the board's governance and oversight. On behalf of the board and citizens of the region, I would like to thank you and recognize your dedication, your commitment, and your extensive contributions to good governance and community safety. Thank you for all your hard work and contributions to this board and police service to the citizens of this region. In a very personal way, I want to say, if now that I've done the official statement here, let me tell you how deeply impressed I was to meet Chair Axon when I first became a member of council. You probably remember I was a rookie in 2010. We sat very close together, and I want to tell you that, you know, public life attracts different types of people. And I can say this, having observed the chair very closely, that she's in public life for all the right reasons. And that is to serve the people, to do the very best that she can. She's a very strong presence on the board, strong presence in the community, but also an individual whose values, principles, and beliefs are very sound. She has a solid foundation. And that, to me, is very important in public life. I think it's not just about getting elected. It's not just about the glory of the, you know, delivering speeches and receiving public admiration. It's a lot deeper than that. It's about making a difference and affecting people's lives in a very positive way. And to take on roles that really are important to the well-being of citizens, roles that really change lives. And I've seen her work in the community and her involvement with charitable organizations. She's a person that understands the real role of what a public servant is all about. And those of us in leadership positions understand that you cannot be a great leader unless you're first a servant. And Virginia understands that. And so her career and her contribution to the board has been exceptional because she's driven by the right values. She understands that people depend on people like her for improving their quality of life. And I do think that it's important. And I hope that, Virginia, you do take a little bit of time today and beyond today to take stock of what you were able to achieve as a chair of this board. Because far too often, we move on from events to events, from meeting to meeting, and we don't take the time to kind of analyze and reflect and contemplate and meditate upon the important role that we as individuals play. And I do think it's important when a term does come to an end to look back, to recognize how far we have come. And a great sign of a leader is also a person that can keep the board together, that is inclusive, where, try to develop a esprit de corps that makes people feel included, but also make people feel that we're all really in this together and that we're all in, this is not something that we do for fun, for joy, although we do enjoy our company, each other's company, but we deal with important issues that matter to people. And so I just, on behalf of the board, and I want to express my sincerest gratitude for all that you have done, and for all that I know you will continue to do. And I hope that you will look back at these years and you'll have a lot of fond memories, and you got to work with some exceptional people here at the board who, like you, are in public service for all the right reasons as well. And I know in my conversations with many of the board members, including Chair Emerson, we certainly appreciated your leadership throughout these years. You have made a difference. And at the end of the day, that is the litmus test for any leader. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Chair Emerson?
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. And it's hard to follow the mayor of Vaughan, like he's very well spoken. And I did not know you've been here with us since 2010. I'm amazed. That's a long time, coming up almost 3 terms. Well, Mayor Haxton, my good friend, you've done an excellent job on this Police Services Board. Yeah, we've had some difficulties, and we've had some good things that we've accomplished together and under your leadership. And I spoke about you at the council last week, and I just want to say thank you on behalf of all the residents in York Region Council for your job you have done on the board. It's not easy to do this job. We're under a lot of pressure to maintain a great police service board, police service division, so that we can protect our residents, and you've done exceptional on that. It's kind of hard to say goodbye, not goodbye, but to not be able to see you there. I know I had the same thing when Mayor Scarpetti left, and even John Molyneux, and he's been there for a long time, and you and him were pretty close and worked very well together. So Mayor Haxton, and like I say, you're in it. You have always been in politics for the right reason, and I think that's what Mayor Bevilacqua, and that's true. These days, I'm not sure all politicians are in it for the right reason, and even some other board members of other boards and that are not in it for the right reason, but you are. So continue. Good health to you, and we will see you at a bigger table at York Region. I know you'll always have your thoughts and sights on York Regional Police, and I know you'll continue to do that. But once again, thank you. And now I'll turn it over to Chief McSween. He has. It's too bad we're not in person to be able to present you, but I know the chief is here, and I know he'll have a special delivery to you. But go ahead, Chief.
Thank you, Chairman Emerson and Vice Chair Bevilacqua. Mayor Haxton. It's been 9 years. A long haul, and I can tell you on behalf of the entire organization, including your ECT here and all other members from the organization, our sincerest congratulations to you on what you've achieved over the past 9 years. We did make a delivery to you yesterday, so I hope you receive that and enjoy it. Great. Mayor Bevilacqua touched on a number of the highlights on things that have been accomplished under your leadership. And I just want to say over the past 2 years, working directly with you as a deputy and then a chief, what a pleasure it's been to just to engage with you and to have you as our leader at the board, but also, you know, every now and again, we have to have the phone a friend conversation and have those sometimes difficult conversations. And you ask some tough questions from time to time, and that's the role. But that's what makes us as good as I believe we are as an organization, with an excellent board under your leadership. A couple of the initiatives I did want to touch on that I think need to be mentioned, and I know many of you are part of, but also you, Chair Haxon, the Human Rights Classroom. I believe, and this is one of those new buildings and new pieces that we're adding to the organization we've added last year. This will set us apart from many organizations across the world. And to know that under your leadership and guidance, we've been able to get there with the region and you know, it's a wonderful achievement, and I really we all look forward to how that will unfold in the years to come. Some of the new programs and initiatives, we have a brand new inclusion strategy, a new code of ethics, a new set of organizational values. I know Mayor Bevilacqua touched on, you know, your ability to make a difference in the community, which is the vision of our organization. So knowing that you've been able to do that over the many years attached to the board and leading the board is just something we truly appreciate as an organization. And I know as much as every one of our members aren't here month to month, and they do see the level of engagement that you've given to YRP over your 9+ years on the board. I think it probably equates to somewhere around 27 recruit grads, 3 a year. I doubt you've missed many because we've seen you at all of them. But it's really important when our people see you at that level of engagement, it really shows the support to the organization. So that's where they see your boots on the ground, and we see it month to month here, asking some tough questions and supporting us along the way to be as good as we are as an organization. So without further ado, I just want to bid you a really, really healthy and happy. I know you're not retiring, but you're retiring from the board. We'll stay connected, and we really look forward to continuing to work with you as the mayor of East Gwillimbury, but as one of our supporters at York Regional Police. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Wow. Yes, I got 2 deliveries yesterday. Thank you very much. I was so surprised when I had the doorbell ring, and probably 2 hours apart. Thank you so much for a beautiful plaque and a picture plaque and beautiful words as well. It's something that I will probably hang up at home here for a while, but maybe share it with the office when we get open again. But it's thank you very much. And thanks for the kind words as well. As shared, I was appointed to this board in 2012 and served as the chair for the past 4 years. My time has truly been an honor and a privilege, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I've certainly broadened my knowledge as it relates to police services and all that it encompasses. I've had the distinct pleasure to meet and work with so many wonderful people, those serving the board today and the many before you. I am thankful for the many friendships made and the business contacts established. Being part of this board afforded me the opportunity to gain knowledge and insight about the operation of an amazing police force, and I'm grateful to have that experience. York Regional Police is now in its 50th year, has excelled in many areas over the years, and is recognized internationally as a leading police force. The executive command team, which I'm proud to have been part of building and expanding, bringing our first female deputy, Cecile, on board, is a strong and dedicated, experienced team who will continue to successfully lead our police force. The role of the Police Services Board is integral to the success of a police force, and York Region is fortunate to have a strong and dedicated board that's supportive and quite frankly, forward-thinking. While I'm leaving the board today, I know there are dedicated and committed people around the table here who will continue the great work, moving projects and initiatives forward and take on the challenges and do great things for York Region. I take this opportunity to thank everyone who supported me in my role as the chair. There are so many, and I probably will miss some, but certainly to mention Chair Emerson, Chief McSween, the deputies, all of our board members, Mafalda, Jacqueline, Dan, you all have been very supportive of my role, and I thank you very much. Thanks to everyone for a wonderful presentation and for all the kind messages. And as I said, the picture plaques that I received yesterday. Best to all, and I'll be watching you. Thank you. With that, we will move along. Thank you. Unless there was anything else to be said or done, I'll move along in the agenda.
Virginia, can I say one word, please?
Certainly, go ahead.
Thank you. I think a lot has been said, and your retirement from this board came a little surprise to me, but I understand and admire your long public services and the accomplishment, and I especially admire you from a female perspective, that your calm, pleasant, and professional demeanor really make this challenging work in a challenging environment something enjoyable. So it's been a pleasure working with you. All the very best for the next chapter of your life. Enjoy, and we hope to see you around.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You will see me around. I'll be popping in just as well, maybe not quite as often, but I'll certainly be watching.
That's great.
Thank you. Mafalda?
Chair Haxton, I just wanted to also echo everyone's remarks, and of course, you've been a strong presence on this board, and I personally thank you for your guidance and leadership. And you've been, you've done so much work for this board, and you've done things many members don't even know behind the scenes, that you've worked hard at making this board a success. I just wanted to add that because of COVID, we've limited our interactions and gatherings, but I do hope at some point in the very near future, I think we're all hopeful that we could have a gathering just to sort of pay tribute to your work.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Norma, go ahead, please. Oh, and I see Jacqueline as well. So I'll start with Norma. Go ahead. You're muted. We'll come back to you. How's that? If you can sort it out. Your sign is saying that your mic is on, but we're not hearing you. Jacqueline?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to echo what everyone said, and it's been a pleasure working with you since 2012. I just wanted to thank you for everything and for your support.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll move along in our agenda. Norma, I believe you're there now.
Yes, I am. Yes. I just want to say, Virginia, that your reputation preceded you, but I'm very glad that I had the short opportunity to work with you. Thanks for being there and being my mentor for the shortest time, but I appreciate that, and I'm hoping in the future we'll have an opportunity to meet and have a good chat. And good luck with your new ventures after this. Take some time for rest and relaxation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wayne?
Yeah, Virginia, just so the board realizes, Mayor Pellegrini from the Township of King is coming on to replace Mayor Haxon. I have about, I would say half or more than half of my council wanting to sit on this board. Matter of fact, I got a couple of emails saying, why did you pick Mayor Pellegrini and not me? But Mayor Pellegrini, it's really, I try to look at it, it's his term, it's his time to come. He's been a member of council for many, many terms, and it's his. So I try to switch them around. We try to stay to the mayors because of their role that they sit as mayor. But they did have a regional councillor from Georgina, Danny Wheeler, which was a great asset, the late Danny Wheeler. So no, I guess it's tough. I know Virginia would like to stay on longer, but I need to continue to move some around because they're always asking to sit on this board. I don't know why, really. Do you know why, Chief? Why did anybody want to sit on the police services board? But
It might have
anyways,
something to do with the budget, but I'm not sure.
you're right. And I don't know why no one mentioned the famous building, the Marine unit. That was probably an asset to us all. And I lost a lot of sleep on that one. But anyways, I'm glad it's built and it's done. Paulo, it's all done now. We're using it and the boats are in there. So anyways, thanks, Virginia. But I just wanted to, so the board should understand that's how we do it. And if the province does change legislation that we need to add, we're allowed to add. We will look at that seriously. The council will, and go from there. So I know they sent us out an email asking us if we had any one that we would recommend for the board. And I think if you do know of some good people, good ones that like Virginia, like the good ones that are in it for the right reason, ones that really want to help us make our police service even that much better. Anyways, so thanks, Virginia, and I'll move to go in camera now if you'd like, if that's what
Yes.
we're asking to do now.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Purchell, are you seconding that motion to go in camera? Thank you very much. All those in favor? And that's carried. We'll take just a 2-minute to make sure that we are in camera, in fact.